there's a big stereotype about drop shotting, light rods, light line, deep, clear water, and a lot of that is true. I mean, there's certain places and circumstances that you have to do that. But, again, with my experimentation back home on my small lakes and Clear Lake and even the Delta for that matter, there's certain times where if you're throwing a drop shot on light line around reeds and grass and docks and wood and rocks, you name it, standing timber, you throw 8 or 10 pound test even, or 6 pound test, you might as well not even fish it because the fish are going to break you off. So I really started to kind of just experiment with different lines, different rods, different baits, and another big part of it is the length of the leader. It kind of really depends on how the fish are positioned in what you're fishing and what time of year. I mean, there's a lot of different factors, and I still don't have it all together right, but there's kind of a certain set of, the way things line up is how I'll fish it. So, to start off with, I usually use 3 different types of rods depending on the line. So these 2 rods right here, I'm actually going to give away also. I got to take that one to the show, but we'll run another contest here at the last little bit. So my main thing that I kind of start out going, like if I'm fishing sparse weeds, a little bit of grass, stumps like Lake Conroe. This isn't being released, right, Justin? Right now? Okay. Lake Conroe in the Classic. Yeah. Lake Conroe in the Classic a couple of years ago, I actually got a top 10, and it's primarily because I was power shotting behind. It's not a very big lake, and guys certainly were in the same areas because the fish were pushing up to spawn. A lot of them pre-spawn. There was some bedding fish, and everybody in the tournament was basically flipping or pitching a little creature bait, a small jig, a lot of Cinco's type baits. A lot of that was going on. The water was kind of dark. It was really kind of hard to see the stumps and rocks and corners of seawalls and stuff like that. There'd be like one little strand of grass. And man, I think it was the second day of practice. I was going behind and I got in this pocket and I couldn't see around this little knob. When I did, I realized I was fishing behind like 5 boats. And fishing behind Bobby Lane and Van Dam, Aaron Martins, and all these other guys is not usually a good thing when the fish are shallow because they're not going to leave you much. So at that point, I think I was flipping a little chunk craw, a little jackal chunk craw. And I had a few bites, and I'm like, this isn't the deal. So I went back, I'm thinking, okay, at Clear Lake, I'd be throwing a drop shot, but there's so much stuff in here, I'm gonna get broke off. So went to my power shot technique, and I think I had 13 or 14 bites in the same pocket behind these guys in practice, which everybody's shaking them off. And in the tournament, I actually fished behind 2 anglers in that same pocket, and I caught 9 of them. And it wasn't because I'm a better fisherman, it was because I was showing those fish there a technique they had never, ever seen. Like I drew local people, from that area, and they thought I was crazy. This one lady I drew was like, "Are you insane? You're drop shotting at Lake Conroe, like in 2 feet of water?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, I don't even know what you're doing. But it's really, get the word drop shot out of your mind and think just it's like flipping or pitching anything else. I mean, it really is. But you got to have the right gear. So get back to what I was saying. The medium heavy is, if I'm fishing like those stumps or sparse grass, lighter reed, type things, scattered pads, that medium heavy, this is a 7'5" bait caster. All my power shotting I do with bait casters. Usually the Metanium HG, it's a 7:2 to 1 gear ratio, I believe. And then it's all about the pound test. Oh yeah, the hooks and weight. But the size of the line, I kind of dictate off the structure I'm fishing, as well as the clarity of the water. Probably my number one go-to is like 14-pound sniper. just to start off with, just see if they'll bite it. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll build up. Like if they're gonna bite 14, I'll rig up a rod with 16 or 18. If they're gonna bite that, and I keep continually getting a lot of bites, I'll go to 20-pound shooter, sunline. And if they keep biting that, I mean, that's usually kind of where I'll stop, because once you get above 20-pound test, it's not as easy to flip and pitch with a drop shot, and I feel like it takes away from whatever bait you may be fishing. But I have, and I'll talk about that, this here's a flipping rod actually, 7'5" flipping rod. I've actually even stepped it up and rigged straight braid, and then I'll do a straight 50-pound, 60-pound FX2 braid, and I'll do a FG knot sometimes. Other times I'll just go straight, like the Delta a few times, where I'm flipping back in holes in the hydrilla clumps and around hyacinths. I'll go straight braid. And I think it's more about the presentation than it is about the fish seeing your line, which...
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.